Good morning. So I hope you're well. Today I'm back in my office again, having had two really incredible days with my publisher talking about building a business with a book. So that's been really incredible. And what was really interesting, at one point I became very vulnerable and I shared my story from childhood that had really knocked my confidence as a child and made me feel that I couldn't trust myself, and it was showing up in my business, and I was sort of quite vulnerable sharing the story about my vicar that took me up to the belfry and didn't do what I was expecting him to do by showing me the bells ringing, and how that set up at the age of 8 that I don't trust myself. I trusted him, he betrayed me, and therefore I couldn't trust myself. So that was a really powerful story that I shared, and that highlighted to me how that showed up in so much of my life. Now, what the reason I want to talk to you about this today, not because of the event, but because I showed up emotionally and quite vulnerably. And everyone was saying, wow, that takes so much courage. Now, I'm always talking about courage, the courage to be vulnerable. The reality is, when you are feeling vulnerable, you don't feel it's courageous, and yet other people see it as very courageous. The fact you're open yourself to judgment, to open yourself to what other people might think. And so I think I talk a lot about, as I say, the courage to be vulnerable. And when you're in this stuff, it doesn't feel courageous any more that when you're in resilience and you're right in the middle of the Bay of Biscay and the boat's being kicked in, you feel, am I drowning? Am I going to survive this? No matter what it is, whether it's an event at work or a project or a family situation, when we're right in the middle of it, we feel, I don't feel resilient. I don't feel I've got courage. I don't feel confident in this. I feel awful. It feels too much. However, when you're in those moments, that is when you're showing the courage and resilience that you didn't even realize you had. It's not until afterwards you can look back on it and think, wow, I got through that. That was amazing. I did it. I would never have imagined I could have done that. So my message to you for today is, when you're right in the middle of it, it doesn't feel that you're resilient. It doesn't feel that you have confidence. It doesn't feel that you've got any of these attributes you aspire to have as a leader. But by definition, the fact you're doing it shows what an incredible, authentic, courageous leader you truly are. So I just want you to have a think about, when you have those moments, stop and feel proud of yourself for doing it, for plowing through, for getting through it. But often we don't do that. We just move on to the next thing and we think, oh, got away with that one, got away with that one. And all that imposter kicks in about, oh, if I was better than I am now, this wouldn't be happening to me. We're all meant to go through this stuff. We're all meant to have these opportunities to rise, even if at the time we don't really feel like it. So if you want to know more, please, I'd love to have a conversation with you. My book is out. It gives you so many tools and techniques about all the things I share with my clients. So you don't need to come to be a client. You can actually just buy the book, and that will give you some tips, and then we can have a conversation. So my call to action for you is to reflect on where you are right now. And if you're questioning if you're good enough, let's have a conversation, because I know you are awesome. So let's have a conversation, and then we can pick out those weeds, pick out those stories, and then you can rise with resilience and confidence as yourself, without putting all this body armor on that we do throughout our life just to prove ourselves we're okay. We are more than okay. We are amazing when we ditch all that stuff that actually stops us being amazing, that we feel we need to put on to protect ourselves. So have a good day, and I'll put some links in the chat below. Take care. Bye.